Hey guys, thanks for watching. So I'm going to start out by telling you that whenever you watch these videos, first off, if you can, I would prefer you to print it out so that you have everything that you need and just write on the worksheet. But if you can't, just make sure that if you're writing it on a blank sheet of paper, you are writing absolutely everything that's on here. So a point is a blank and you draw what's over here. Make sure you write absolutely that's everything that's on here down, because it's going to be your notes in order to study and to take quizzes and to look at for different problems and stuff. So you're gonna be going over things today that you defined for sure on the other worksheet as long as you did it. I'm just going to go a little more in depth on these different geometry terms. So we're going to be looking at points, lines, and planes today. So a point you can think of as just a location. Okay, so like a point on the map is a location. Okay, so it has no size or shape because it's just a point, just one little dot. Okay. So whenever we name or label a point, whenever we're recalling a point, so for example, we're looking at this point, we would use a capital letter to name it, and so we would just label this point A. Again, a point is just a location, just a point on the map, a point on a plane, a point on a sheet of paper, that kind of a thing. It has no size or shape because it's just the little dot. And we always use a capital letter in order to name or label a point. So a line looks like this. We've already seen it. You drew an example, okay? It's made up of just a bunch of points. All the points in either direction. It continues on. That's what these arrows mean. The arrows just mean that it continues on in either direction and it doesn't stop. It continues on infinitely. So any 2 points are going to form a line. If you have 2 points of any sort, then you can connect them and have all the points in between and in either direction. Okay, a line has no thickness. Okay, so it's just these points. It's not going to be a bunch of points this way too. And it has no width because, again, just goes on infinitely either way and it doesn't go on this way. Okay, and the line can be moved around this way, like if we had one this way, it could be a line. The 2 arrows on either side is what makes it a line. You know, it can be in either direction, any direction. As long as you have just a bunch of points creating a line. Whenever we name a line, we name it by any 2 points on the line, or we can name it by the lowercase script letter that it's being labeled by. So since any 2 points do form a line, if you pick 2 points, it does create a line. So you can call it line XY, okay? So we can write it like this. You just write XY, and then we're going to draw a little line with the arrows on top of it. Okay, that's one way to write it. As you can see, the points on here are X and Y. You can actually write it out, line XY. Okay, just make sure you use capital letters because these are points. Okay, or you can use the lowercase script letter or cursive letter. So here we've got an N, you can see. So you can just try and do the fancy N. It's okay if it doesn't look right as long as you can tell what it's supposed to be. So we can consider it line N, line XY, and then this is line XY as well. So you can label it using 2 of the points. Make sure you have this line on top to show that it is a line and not a line segment or array or something else. Line XY, or we can just label it by the little label next to it. These are 2 terms you're going to need to know. Collinear points are just any points that lie on the same line. So any 2 points are always going to be collinear, but if you have 3 points, like for example, if we had a point Z here, we can see that those 3 points are collinear because they all are on this line right here. As long as they're on the same line, then they're collinear. Non-collinear points are points that do not lie on the same line. So if we have line or point B over here, we can see that X, Y, and B are not collinear because B is on a different line. Okay, if they're not on the same line, then they are not non-collinear. You can also say not collinear. It doesn't matter as long as you're showing that they are not collinear. They are not on the same line. You have to have at least 3 points in order for them to be not collinear, because if you have 2 points of any sort, they can always be on the same line because you can just create a line. So like if I have a point here and a point here, it doesn't matter. There can always be a line in between the two. You can always connect them. So now we're going to talk about planes. So a plane is just a flat surface okay, and it's made up of a bunch of points. So for example, if you're looking at just a sheet of paper, okay, each one of these little spots on here, each little place is a point. So this would be considered a plane, okay? It's just a flat surface and it goes in infinitely in either direction. So imagine this, except it keeps going in all of the directions. That would be a plane, okay? So any 3 points are gonna make a plane. Just similarly to how we have the line, if we connect all 3 points and we just flatten it out, we continue in all directions, it'll end up with a plane. A plane extends indefinitely in all directions. Like I said, it continues infinitely in all directions. So looking at this one, it would continue on this way, it would continue on this way, it would continue on this way, and it would continue on this way. Just in everything, it'd still have more, and it'd still have, include all of this and all that. So it just continues on. It's just a flat surface in 3D space. We name planes by any 3 points that are not on the same line, so 3 non-collinear points. Or sometimes we can use an uppercase script level. So a lowercase script level is a line, and an uppercase script letter is a plane. So for example here, we have K, J, and L. So we can label it plane. We have 3 points that are not on a line, so together, so K, J, L. And then we can also label it using the script P in the corner and just say plane P. That looks more like an R. Plane P. So coplanar points are points that lie on the same plane. So for example, if you do look at just a sheet of paper, I'm going to use a sticky note for an example. If we have 3 points on it, A, B, and C, okay, all 3 of those are on the same plane. So they would be coplanar points. But if we had a second sticky note, okay, and we had point D on this one, so if they look like this and they're not the same plane, then we can say that A, B, C, and D are non-coplanar. These points do not lie on all the same plane. You have to have at least 4 points, because if you have 3 points, then you can create a plane. So if you have 4 points that are not on the same plane, so not on the same sheet of paper, then they're non-coplanar points. And then on the bottom of this page, we have intersecting lines and planes, and that's just 2 lines that'll meet at some point and 2 planes that'll meet at a place. So if 2 lines intersect or meet each other, you can see that they're going to intersect at a point. So example here, we have that line R and line S intersect at point P. And then if we have 2 planes meeting each other, they're going to meet each other or intersect at a line. So we can see that this plane here, L, and this plane here, M, intersect at line K. So that's where they meet each other. So if we look to the next one, I'm going to go through and kind of do some examples. So we're using the diagram over here in order to name some different geometry parts. So first off, we can see that we have these points, H, M, N, O, J, K, L, and I, okay? We have these lines, R, P, and Q, okay? So first, we need to find 4 collinear points. So we just need 4 points that are on the same line. We can see that line P only has 3 points on it, so can't use any of those ones. Line Q also only has 3 points on it. So if we look at line R, 1, 2, 3, 4, we can use those ones. So we have points H, N, K, and I. And remember, if we're labeling points, we're going to use capital letters. Okay. B, a line that contains point M. So you can see point M is right here, and that is on this line. There's two ways we can label it. We can use 2 letters, or we can use the little script letter over here. I'm going to use the little script letter this time. So we're going to use line P. Okay, that's the one that contains point M. A line that contains point H and K. We can see H and K here. We'll go ahead and use those points to label it. So we're going to do HK, except I'm going to do it this way. So we just draw the little line on top. Makes it a little easier. Don't have to write out the word line. So because this line has H and K on it, you can label it using those 2 points. Just write them out, capital letters again, and then the little line on top with the arrows on either side to show that it is a line. Another name for line Q, okay? We can go ahead and label it using 2 of the points on the line, since we've already used the little script letter. So we'll write line for this one, since we already did the other way. And since it's line Q, we can use 2 of these. Let's use K and L. Okay, so that's all you have to do. Use 2 points. And then lastly, the intersection of lines P and R. So we've already talked about the fact that lines intersect at a point, so we're just going to have a point whenever they intersect. And then P and R, so line P is this one, okay, and then line R is this one. Looks like they intersect right here, and that is point N. Okay, so just go through, look at the diagram, and make sure you're labeling them correctly. Okay, so now I want you to try the rest of this paper using how I just showed you the examples and using how the other page showed you how to label the things. I want you to try the rest of them. As long as you remember how to label everything, what the different terms mean, like non-collinear, coplanar. As long as you know what these words mean, you should be able to do these. I want you to see. You can see that there's a plain R here, okay? These are each going to be line segments. Okay, I just want you to try the rest of these and then take a picture and submit it. Again, if you are doing this on paper, try your best to draw the diagrams on the side because it really helps. But either way, have a great day. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.